Today, the difference between acoustic and electric guitars. It all has to do with how they pick up the power. My Telly. It's a Fender Telecaster. I think it's a 52 remake. American made. It's a good guitar. This one's a Taylor. First, the acoustic guitar, the way it's meant to be played, unplugged. See? No plug, no power source, just its own sound, its own power. Sounds pretty good. Now, let's try the electric. Let's plug it in, and I've got my trusty old Roland amp. We're going to power it on. Same chords. Guitar, different power source. I'll show you if I unplug from the power source, you can't even hear it. You hear just a little bit of the strings. Now, I want to show you an acoustic guitar plugged into this same power source. Watch what happens. Take the acoustic, plug it in. Now, when I plug into this power source, watch what happens. It'll do that and start to make a really high-pitched feedback noise. It can't play it. It can't handle it. Do this continual feedback loop where it just makes these awful noises. It can't handle it. Play it now. You can hear the difference. But not quite as cool as the electric. Kind of cool, but electric's a lot cooler with the delay. What does it is this delay. And an electric guitar, when it's plugged into an amp, can use things like delays and reverb and distortion to make lots of different tones. Make it a lot more interesting. You just can't do that with an acoustic because of feedback. It just can't handle it because of the hollowness of it, the different pickups. They're made to just pick up sound, not to pick up the actual energy, the electricity of the guitar. You can see that just one little hit of the string, the sound can get over and over and over, and building the sound. The sound can actually build on itself, become very powerful sound. It'll just keep going. I believe there's a cool picture here with the differences between these two guitars. This is kind of like us when we allow the power of emotions to guide our life, and we use them to make decisions and to help navigate our life. When we're using emotions, it's like this. We can't handle the supernatural power of emotions. But when we transition into the operating system of Jesus, I believe it's like this guitar. We become more solid, but with pickups that can pick up only the power that is going directly from the source, which I believe is the supernatural power of emotions. This is the way that I've seen it played out in my life. I've noticed when I'm doing ministry out on the street, I'm asking God, what is going on here? And God will actually, I've noticed I'll start to feel feelings around people. And instead of that feeling guiding me and me just going, oh man, I feel terrible, I want to go, or I feel sad, I just want to get out of here, like it used to be. Now I'm going to God and allowing God to direct me with, why am I feeling this sadness, God? Is there something with this person? Is there something in this atmosphere? What's going on here? And as that happens, I start to have like this feedback loop. Kind of like what this guitar can do with this power source. It can start the power can start to build on itself. It's kind of like when I'm feeling the sadness or I'm feeling something from God, an intense feeling, I'll say, God, I'm feeling this. And God will say, yes, it's this. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that sadness because of what this person is going through. Wow, you're feeling the sadness. And it starts to build. As I'm realizing this is what God is feeling, he can then trust me with more of the supernatural, very powerful feelings, whatever there is in that moment. Because he can trust me with it because I'm not going to use it. When I played in a little band, it was kind of a rock band, we did some shows, mostly at coffee shops and stuff, but one time we did a show in a pretty big venue, and I had my little amp here. It's not a little amp, it's a pretty good size amp, but I had it up to about an 8 or so, and they had it plugged into the system. So then it was on their amp, the very large amps, and it filled the hall. It was a very powerful sound that day. I like that analogy of that God has all of the emotional power, all of the emotional feelings that we ever have felt. They are all from God. He is the source of them all. So today, when you think back on your life, and I look at this, if this was like emotional power, and you're thinking back on life, think back to when you first fell in love. And that power is probably really, really high. Or when the day you got married, really high. The emotional power, the emotional juices flowing through your heart were up really high. And imagine that all of that power, that powerful feeling you were feeling even on that day, that was all from God. And that God had given you, and he was the source of that. The amazing part about that is no matter how powerful that felt, it's nothing compared to what God feels about you and the emotional love and powerful feelings that God feels for all of us. He is greater than the sum total of all the emotional feelings that have ever been felt on this whole planet. He holds them all in his hand. And to us, it's really super powerful, but to God, it's only a little amp. And he's actually the whole power source that can fill the whole universe. That's how much emotional power that he feels. And I invite you today to ask him to show you just a glimpse of how much love that he has for you. Ask him to show you in a feeling that you can actually feel a fraction, a portion of his love. When you get a glimpse of how much God loves you and how much he loves the people around you, it changes everything.